Hello and welcome to Forging Titans, part 2 of the Aeldari review. I still get confused about calling them Eldar because I've been playing for so long. So, first off today, we are going to be going through the stratagems and some of the war scrolls. But first of all, I did make a mistake yesterday because I was silly enough to not take breaks during this review, and I did it in all 1 hour. And with my dyslexia, I was absolutely getting shattered and I couldn't fully give you the details of this Luck of the Laughing God. So I'm going to go through it again. So basically, for every Harlequin's unit in your army, you at the start of each battle round, you gain a number of luck rerolls depending on the size of the battle you are playing. So, a combat patrol you get 1, incursion you get 2, strike force you get 3, and onslaught you get 4. So you get 4 off the bat. And in addition, you can make the Laughing God roll to try and increase the number of luck rerolls gained. To do so, you roll up to d6d6. If every result is unique, you gain a number of additional luck rolls equal to the number of d6 rolled. Each luck reroll can be used to reroll 1 hit roll, 1 wound roll, 1 damage roll, 1 saving throw, 1 advanced roll made for a unit from your army with the Luck of the Laughing God ability. Any luck rerolls are not used by the end of the battle round are lost. Okay, and then for an example, and there's Wes. Okay, I thought it says Wheeze. I thought there was a typo, but it's not. Wes is playing Strike Force Battle because Wes gain. Sometimes it's really confusing. Okay, Wes is playing a Strike Force Battle. Because of this, Wes gains 3 luck rerolls. At the start of the battle round, Wes then makes a Luck of the Laughing God roll and decides to roll 3d6. He rolls a 1, a 3, and a 5. Because of these results is unique until the end of the battle round, Wes gains an additional 3 luck rerolls for a total of 6. Interesting. Okay, so basically, let's see, that's what Wes is doing. Trusty Westy dice. You roll, and I didn't roll unique, so I don't think I get it. 3 luck rerolls. So I think I only get 2, or I get none at all. So, you see, I said yesterday it was exactly the same as the aeldari ability. It's not. So, if for example I rolled a 4, a 6, and a 5, I'd get 3 extra rerolls in that battle. So, that's that. Okay, I apologise. I didn't go through it properly, and this time I have to recap. Okay, and now we're going to get into the main part of this battle camera. There we go, which is the stratagems. Okay, so if your army is battle forged and includes an aeldari or harlequin's detachment, excluding auxiliary support detachments, you have access to stratagems shown on the following pages, and there is about 5 pages. Okay, and let's do this. First of all, the great enemy. So to explain, the Aeldari used to have an ability built into their data sheets that any Slaanesh units they would get benefits to and debuffs. This time it is now just they've taken it out of the data sheets, and now it is literally a stratagem you can use. So basically, use this stratagem in the fight phase when the aeldari, harlequins, or Ynnari unit from your army is selected to fight. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack against a Slaanesh unit, you can re-roll the hit roll and wound rolls. So that is a very specific stratagem when you're fighting either Emperor's Children, if they get a codex and they've got Slaanesh in their name, and most likely Slaanesh demons. It's a very particular one. It's good, but you're not going to be using that every game. The next one is Matchless Agility. Use this stratagem in the shooting phase when an aeldari unit from your army makes a battle focus move. Obviously we went through battle focus yesterday. Do not roll with 1d6 to determine the distance. That unit can move instead until the end of the phase. That unit can move up to 6 inches. So basically, with this you're guaranteed to get the most out of your battle focus move. So after the path yesterday, path of the Eldar, I can't remember the exact name, we'll go through it again later, but ones were advanced rolls of 6. So basically you could spend one of them on one unit, and then you could spend this command point and do it to another unit, which guarantees you can get them where you want to go. That's good, I like that one. Lightning fast reactions is the next one. These all cost 1 command point, by the way. Use this stratagem on your opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase. When an Asari, Harlequins or Yannara unit from your army, excluding monster units, is selected as the target of an attack until the end of the phase, each time an attack roll is made against that unit, subtract 1 from the attack's hit roll. So it's -1 to hit. That's not bad. I mean, if you I reckon you could. Well, I don't think you can actually use that and cover. It wouldn't be -2, but it's still, if they're out in the open, you're giving them basically a cover save of -1 to hit, which is good. I like this one. Blade Storm costs 1 command point. Use this stratagem in the shooting phase when an Asunari or Harlequins unit from your army is selected to shoot. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in this unit makes an attack with a shuriken weapon, an unmodified hit roll of 6 scores 1 additional hit. That's cool. That is really good. And there's some, when you use your craft world abilities, that can be quite devastating. So you can have the 6s automatically wound and they cause an additional hit. That's good. I like that. I'll be using that one quite a bit, to be fair. Use this. Oh, yeah. Got to say the name first, don't I? Martial Citizenry. 1 command point. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase or fight phase when a Guardian's unit from your army is selected to shoot or fight. Until the end of the phase, each time a model with that unit makes an attack, re-roll a hit roll of 1. Re-roll 1s in combat or shooting, which is quite good. So you could, in theory, spend that and get a good combination going. So Martial Citizen, I can't even say that, it's like saying someone pocketed it. Martial Citizenry and Blade Storm. It could be quite a good little combo to do. Next one, 1 command point, is Fire and Reposition. Use this stratagem when an outcast unit from your army makes a battle focus move, and any models and any of its models you wish to move over any. Sorry, let me read that again. And any of its models wish to move over any part of area terrain feature, that unit can move the full distance roll. Do not subtract 3 inches. So that means ignore anything that's in your way. That's really good. So that's brilliant. That is good. Then you got the Avengers of the Asuyan. This is 2 command points. And use a stratagem in the shooting phase. Select 1 Dire Avengers unit from your army that is below its starting strength, and you can shoot again. I'm not sure about that one, because they are now an elite unit, as we'll see later. And for 2 command points, a unit that is below shooting strength, it can shoot again. Myself, I probably wouldn't use that, and to be fair, but we'll wait and see. That this could be really good. It's one of those things, when you're looking at it on paper, it doesn't sound very good, but when it's actually in game, it is really good. It's like, you can say, like for Blade Storm example, I say that looks really good on paper, but in reality it might not be. So that's these fellas here. Now we're going into some other ones. So we have Unparalleled Mastery. This is an epic deed stratagem. Use this stratagem at the start of your psychic phase. Select 1 Farseer, Shadowseer, Yvain or Crane model from your army. That unit can attempt to manifest 1 additional psychic power this phase. That's pretty good. So if you've got a selection of psychic powers, you can get all of them off technically with this stratagem. And it's 1 command point, so that's quite good. The next one is Multi-Facted Mind. That's 1 command point. And use this stratagem in your psychic phase after attempting to perform a psychic action with a Farseer, Shadowseer or Yvain model from your army. That unit can attempt to manifest one psychic power this phase. That's cool, because usually when you do a psychic action, you can't do any other psychic powers. You have to keep doing that. So for secondary objectives and such, you can still cast a psychic power with that at one command point. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. Right, let's go to the next lot and the next page on 99. The Phoenix Reborn. So in this stratagem, use this stratagem when a Phoenix Lord model from your army is destroyed. You can choose to roll 1d6 at the end of the phase instead of using any rules that are triggered when that model is destroyed. If you do so, then on a 4+, that model, you set that model back up on the battlefield. Not within engagement range of any enemy and with D3 wounds remaining. This stratagem cannot be used to set the same model back up once per battle. And also it has to be as close as possible as to where it was when it died. That means you can keep your HQ around. Yeah, I like that. That's quite good. I like this one. I was having a look earlier this morning, and I like this one. This is cool because I like the Avatar Cane. So this is a 2 command point stratagem, but I do think it's worth it. Use this stratagem in the fight phase when an Avatar Cane model on your army has not already been selected to fight in that phase, and it's destroyed. Do not remove the model from play. You add 2 to the model's attacks characteristics, and it can fight after all other models have finished their attacks. After resolving the destroyed model's attacks, it is then removed. So that is a guarantee that you can fight with your avatar. And also, if he's fighting something big that you need to destroy, you're guaranteed to get like big attacks off on him, which is brilliant. That is really good. And as we've seen in the review of Games Work GW on social media, this thing nearly killed. The only thing it couldn't kill was Mortarion straight off. But yeah, this thing, you're guaranteed to kill something big or a unit, so it's always going to do something in your game. Battle Psychers is the second one. That's a 2 command point as well. Use a stratagem when a Warlock's unit from your unit that contains 4 or more models manifests psychic power from the runes of the battle discipline. Instead of selecting one of that power's effects, you can select both of its effects. That's cool. So it's just an interesting way. We don't know that fully yet, but we'll see later on. That is good. And then we have now this one, the Champion of the Aeldari and the Treasures of the Aeldari. They are the same as all other codex you get. You can select a warlord trait for another HQ, and when it's a strike force battle, when it's strike force, you can use it twice, which is cool. And then even says here on onslaught you can use it 3 times. And it's the exact same here for the relics, so you can give another unit a relic, and you can do that twice in a strike force and 3 times in an onslaught game. But this one, Relics of the Shrines, use this stratagem before the battle when you are mustering your army. If your warlord has the Asari keyword, select 2 models from your army that have the word Exarch in their profile. Each of these models are given 1 aspect shrine relic. This must be a relic they could have. Relic in your army must be unique, and you cannot use a stratagem to give a model 2 relics. You can only use this relic once. Unless you're in strike force, then you can use it twice, and then in onslaught you can use it up to 3 times. So you can give your unit leaders, if they've got an Exarch, a relic, that's handy. That can be quite sneaky. Give it to a unit of banshees, and they have the blade that we'll see later on. That is one of my favourite relics, just because it's quite simple to use and it's good. And then on this page 99, finally is the Seer Council. And the stratagem is, use this stratagem before the battle when you are mustering your army. Select 1 Farseer model from your army and select 1 Warlock's unit from your army that contains 2 or more models. While the Farseer model is within 6 of the Warlocks, add 1 to the psychic test taken for that Farseer. While the Farseer model is within 3 of the Warlocks, enemy models cannot target the Farseer model with range attacks. You can only use the stratagem once. So basically, when you've got your Farseer and you have a unit of warriors near it, it gives him buffs, which is good. It's always good to have a couple of buffs for your characters, so that is cool. Moving on to the next page, which is more stratagems. I'll be back in a second. Right, and I'm back. I just have to grab a drink, guys. I've got a lot of talking. My mouth is running wild. So, second page of stratagems. We start off with linked fire. Now, this costs you 2 command points. Use this stratagem at the start of your shooting phase and select one fire prism model from your army. Then select 1 or 2 other friendly fire prism models within 12 inches and visible to the model. Until the end of the phase, each time the first fire prism model you selected shoots using the focus lance profile of its prism cannon, you have these abilities. This model makes 2 additional attacks with that weapon. That's cool. Using the weapon's focus lance profile, and for each of the fire prism models you selected. So if you have, for each other. So if you have 1, you get 2 extra attacks. But if you have 3 units, you get 4 extra attacks by the sound of it. Ooh, that's cool. 2 command points, it seems quite worth it. And then the second part of that is invulnerable save throws cannot be made against any attacks that by that model of that weapon. So basically you're getting 6/5 shots with the big version, and people cannot take invulnerable saves. So it's a mini railgun from the Tau. But I also prefer this way because you do have to spend the command points to do that, and also it's not going to be a direct target. So the railgun on the hammerhead is really powerful. We all know it's really powerful, and it ignores invulnerable saves and anything that ignores wounds. But the thing is, it's on a squishy tank. And you know that if someone's got the firepower, they're going to aim for that straight away. You know, so that's the niche with that. But this way, necessarily people won't go for it unless they know about the stratagem. People will know about the stratagem when you're using it, but it is pretty good. I like that one. That's a good one. And it makes me kind of want to take fire prisms. But I like Graveguard, so we'll see. The second command point is you can either spend 1 command point or 2 command points on this, and it is Feigned Retreat. Use this stratagem in your movement phase when an Asunari, Harlequins or Yanari unit from your army falls back. You can select 1 unit to be eligible to shoot this turn or eligible to declare charge this turn, or both. If you select both, this stratagem costs 2 command points, otherwise it costs 1. Yeah, that's not bad. I don't know if, well, you never say never. You will use it at some point. But I do like that one. So you can have it. Actually, that is quite good. You can have it shoot that turn and then charge again. Yeah, that's a good one. That is a good one. And I would tend to spend the 2 command points for that. That's good. The second one is called Forewarned. This one does cost 2 command points. Use a stratagem at the end of the reinforcement setup step of your opponent's movement phase. Select 1 craft-rolled unit from your army within 12 of a friendly craft-rolled Farseer model. That craft-rolled unit can shoot as if it were the shooting phase, but models can only target the single eligible enemy that was set up as reinforcements this turn, and that is within 18 inches of the unit when doing so. So that is another, like we had with the Rangers. Someone sets up some new reinforcement, you can instantly fire upon them. 2 command points, but then it says craft world. It doesn't say core or anything like that, so you can have anything really fire at that unit. And from what I'm reading here, which is good, you can have some devastating effect on that. So if they bring in a dreadnought, you can fire one of your heavy tanks at it if it's within 18 inches. That's cool. It's very cool. Tears of Isha. Poor lady. Use this stratagem in your command phase. Select 1 craft-rolled Wraith construct from your army that that model regains up to D3 lost wounds if the selected model is within 6 of a friendly Craftworld Spirit Sim model. That model regains 3 lost wounds instead. If you select a Titanic model with this stratagem, it costs 2 command points, otherwise it costs 1. I'll be using that quite a lot because I like constructs. And if you're near a Spirit Seer, you get your 3 wounds back. That's really cool. I like that one a lot. I like it a lot. Fire and Fade is the next one. 2 command points. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase after making attacks with an Asunari, Harlequins or Ynnari unit, excluding aircrafts, from your army. That unit can immediately make a normal move up to 7 inches unless that unit is a Harlequins unit. That's interesting. It cannot embark within a transport model at the end of its move. Until the end of the turn, that unit is not eligible to declare a charge. Units in the with the battle focus ability cannot make a battle focus move in a turn in which it did this stratagem. Makes sense. So that's good. Why can't you do it if you're Harlequins? Maybe they've got a better move characteristic or something. We'll see. But that costs you 2 command points. The next one is another 2 command point drop. It's Phantasm. Oh, it sounds all fancy. Use this stratagem at the start of the first battle round before your first turn begins. Select up to 3 Asunari, Harlequins or Ynnari units, excluding Titanic units, from your army and redeploy them. If this mission uses strategic reserves rules, any of those units can be placed into strategic reserves without having to spend any additional command points, regardless of how many units are already in strategic reserves. If both players have the abilities to redeploy units, roll off, the winner chooses who redeploys first. You can only use this stratagem once. That's cool. So you can have quite a few things coming in on reserve, and you can make even more. So you could have over half your army if you really wanted to, making these drops, and that would be really, really crazy for people to deal with. Ooh, that's cool. I'll probably use that one. That is really cool. I like that. The next one is Eldrick Storm. This is a 3 command point drop. Woo! Use this stratagem in your command phase. If a Farseer model in your army is on the battlefield, select 1 point on the battlefield within 24 of the Farseer model from your army and place a marker on that point. In your next psychic phase, the Farseer models from your army are within 24 of that marker. You can perform the following psychic action. Empower Storm psychic action. Warp Charge 5. That's not hard to get off. Let's have a look. Oh. That was a 4. So that goes off. At the start of your next shooting phase, will roll 1d6 for each unit within 6 of the centre of the marker you place, subtracting 2 if that unit being rolled for is an infantry character unit. On a 2+, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds, and in addition to 1 mortal wound for each time the Empower Storm psychic action was successfully completed this turn. Then the marker is removed. You can only use this stratagem once. So that's a heavy hitter. That's a real heavy hitter. That's really cool. So basically you can really cause an issue there. And it doesn't have to be the Farseer that declares it. Any Farseer model. So that's good. I like that. So you're going to be causing quite a lot of mortal wounds. That's devastating. Next page. Webway Strike. 1 command point to 3 command points. Okay. Use this stratagem before the battle when declaring reserves and transports. If you are playing a mission without this step, use this stratagem during the deployment. Okay. If you spend 1 command point, you can set an Asari infantry, biker, Harlequins infantry or biker, or Ynnari infantry or biker unit from your army in the webway instead of setting up on the battlefield. If you spend 3 command points, you can place 2 infantry or biker units from each of the code names of Harlequins, Asunari and Ynnari instead. In the reinforcement step of one of your movement phases, you can set up any units from the webway anywhere on the battlefield more than 9 inches away from enemy models. You can only use the stratagem once. That's another good one. It's quite a, well, you can be quite, if you you want a lot of stuff in the webway, you can spend the command points to get that. That's not terrible. Or you could just do it for a couple bits and get 1 command point. So that's not bad at all. Yeah, I'd be tempted to do the 3 command points for that. But then it also depends on how many command points you spent for relics and other stratagems. It's the thing you got to be careful about. You can have so many good things that you want to do at the start, but then you have no command points. So you got to be careful with that. But I'd say if you're going with a biker heavy list, definitely use that, because that is good. The next one is, so these next 5 stratagems are just for the aeldari. So we have the wire weave grenades, 1 command point. Use this stratagem at the start of your opponent's movement or charge phase to select 1 unit, excluding units that can fly, within 12 inches of a shroud runner's unit from your army, and roll 1d3. And here are the results. The enemy suffers 1 mortal wound equal to the result of a maximum of 1 mortal wound per model in that unit. Until the end of the phase, subtract 1 unit result from that enemy's move characteristic. Wow, subtract 1. Or subtract the result. I think all 3 of these go off at the same time. Yeah, so they suffer mortal wounds equal to the result. I think you can choose, actually. Yeah, it happens all 3 times. That's brilliant. So yeah, 1 mortal wound per model in that unit. At the end of the phase, you can subtract the result from their move characteristic to a minimum of 0. So usually it's just a minimum of 1 inch, but if you do it right, they can't move. It's going to be hard not to have them move because most people have more than 3 inches, but we'll see. Until the end of the phase, your opponent must subtract the result from charge rolls made for that enemy unit. So that is a really messed up one. It's good. For 1 command point, that is good. It can be really tricksy. Mini Wargamer Dave used to say Eldar cheese, and I think that is pretty cheese, but I like it. The second one is Shield Discharge, 1 command point. Use this stratagem at the start of your charge phase. Select 1 model from your army with a serpent shield or wave serpent shield. Then select an enemy unit within 12 of that model. Until the end of the turn, that enemy cannot fire Overwatch or set to defend. Each time a model in that army makes a melee attack, subtract 1 from the attack's hit roll. After using this stratagem, the selected model is no longer considered to be equipped with a serpent shield or wave serpent shield. So basically you can give up your shield, but they can't fire Overwatch. So for an idea that I would do, if I have a wave serpent full of banshees, drop this, no actually no, because banshees you can't fire Overwatch. Storm Guardians, for example, if you got as a unit of Storm Guardians, you can let this off, you'll lose your shield, but the enemy unit cannot shoot Overwatch at it, and they'll safely get into the charge. I like that. Depends on, I would prefer the shields myself, but there are ways to actually get that so you can guarantee charges, which is really cool. The next one is Grenade Pack. Use this stratagem in your movement phase after a swooping Hawks unit from your army makes a normal move or advances. Select 1 enemy unit in unit that any models. Sorry, dyslexia kicking in. Unit from your army makes a normal move or advances. Select 1 enemy unit that any models in that swooping Hawks unit moved. Across this phase, roll 1d6 for each model in that swooping Hawks unit, subtracting 1 if the selected enemy unit has a character keyword, excluding a vehicle or monster. For each 4+, that selected model enemy unit suffers 1 mortal wound, to a maximum of 6 mortal wounds. So that's a grenade one, can cause a lot of mortal wounds. It's not going to be as effective on a character, and you cannot do it to a vehicle or a monster. But yeah, mortal wounds, always a good thing. The Starhawk missile is the next one, 1 command point. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase when an aeldari model from your army targets an aircraft unit with an aeldari missile launcher. That model can only make 1 attack with that weapon in this phase, but when resolving that attack, add 1 to the attack's hit roll. If the hit roll is scored, the target suffers 2d3 mortal wounds and the attack sequence ends. That's an anti-aircraft one, and potentially giving it 6 mortal wounds is, oh, I'm never going to complain about that. And for only 1 command point, that's good. That's really good. Next one is the Resonator Shard, 1 command point. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase when a unit from your army that contains any models equipped with a D cannon, Doom Weaver or Shadow Weaver is selected to shoot. To the end of the phase, each time an attack made by a model in that unit is equipped with, you can reroll the hit rolls, basically reroll the hit roll. So the D cannon, I think that's a flamer weapon, so you can reroll the result. That's good. That's good. Flamers, a unit of flamers is always good. Potentially getting, say you've got 5, so you've got 6, 12, 18, 24, 30 hits potentially. That's good. That's good, and that can be used for multiple weapons, so Doom Weaver or a Shadow Weaver as well, which is good. And the final one on this page is Fusion Charges, 1 command point. Use this stratagem in the fight phase when a Fire Dragon unit from your army is selected to fight. Select 1 model in that unit, and that model can only make 1 attack this phase and must target an enemy vehicle with that attack. But if a hit is scored, that vehicle suffers 2d3 mortal wounds and the attack sequence ends. So basically you've got a good couple of command points here that are going to guarantee some damage. If you hit, it's going to guarantee some damage on vehicles and that. So that's very good anti-aircraft and tank weaponry. That's good. I like that. Right. So we'll be going on to the next page in just a moment. Okay. Right. Hello and welcome back. I just went for a quick break, just to make sure that I am reading things correctly. So the next page, 102, is the more stratagems, and this will be the last of the stratagems. So first one for 2 command points is a prismatic blur. Use this stratagem in the movement phase when a Harlequin's infantry unit from your army advances more than 8 inches. Until the start of your next command phase, models in that unit have a 3+ invulnerable save. That's 2 command points, and a 3+ invulnerable save is nothing to laugh at, and you can potentially use that a few times. That's cool. I like it. And these are these blue ones here. They're all for just Harlequins. You can't use them for other Aeldari with different keywords. The next one is Kegorach's Jest. Again, pronunciation is weak with me. That either costs 1 or 2 command points. Use this stratagem in your movement phase when an enemy unit with engagement range of a Harlequin's infantry unit from your army falls back. After the unit has finished that move, select 1 Harlequin's infantry unit from your army that is within engagement range of that enemy at the start of the phase. The selected unit can either consolidate up to 6 inches or shoot as if it were the shooting phase. If the selected unit shoots, you can only target the enemy unit. If the selected unit consolidates, use the stratagem. This stratagem costs 2 command points, otherwise it costs 1. It's not bad. Harlequins are very mobile army, so them first two, they're quite good. Virtuosos of the Webway is the next one. 1 command point. Use your stratagem at the end of your movement phase. Select 1 Harlequin's unit from your army that is not within engagement range of any enemy models. Remove that unit from the battlefield. That unit is then placed into strategic reserves. So a unit you can kind of, so strategy wise, you can place a unit and then you can take it away. It's redeploy basically, and you can bring them up something later, which is cool. Second one is Murderous Spectacle. 2 command points. Use a stratagem in the charge phase when a Harlequin's infantry unit from your army makes a charge move. To the end of that turn, add 1 to the damage characteristic of the melee weapons in the model that which models are equipped with, to a maximum of 3. So you can say that's quite good. That's a killing. That can potentially be killing Terminators, and definitely be killing Space Marines in 1 hit. That's good. Pesky 2 wound models. not a problem. But if you're going to be doing Death Guard, I wouldn't do it, because they reduce damage. And the last one for the Harlequins is the War Dancers. It's 3 command points. Use a stratagem at the end of the fight phase and select one troop unit from your army with an engagement range of any enemy units. That unit can fight again, and you can only use a stratagem once per battle round. So that's again, you can fight again after the combat. So say you've killed most of the unit, you can finish that unit off. And then the next ones, oh, these are Harlequins as well. So yeah, these 4 here are also Harlequins. That's Harlequins. This is a Harlequins page. Ooh, so I got that wrong. So these 2 pages are Harlequins. Cool. So no price too steep is the next one. 2 command points. Use a stratagem in the fight phase when a Harlequins character model from your army has not already been selected to fight. This phase is destroyed. If it's destroyed, you do not remove that model from play. It can fight after the attacker model's unit has finished making attacks. If that model is a solitaire model, it can or was destroyed by a chaos unit until the end of the phase. Add 1 to the model's attack strength characteristic after resolving the destroyed model's attacks. It is then removed. So similar to the Avatar of Cain, and if it's chaos unit, you can add you get extra strength and damage, extra strength and attacks. That's pretty solid. Hero's Path is add 2 inches to the movement characteristic of selected models. Each time a charge roll made is for any selected models, add 1 to the result. Oh, I didn't. Hero's Path, and that is for Troop Master, Death Jester or Shadow Shear models from your army, and that's until the end of the turn. And then Torment to the Fiery Pit, 1 command point. Use this stratagem in the fight phase when a Harlequin's character model from your solitaire models from your army has lost any wounds and is selected to fight. Until the end of the phase, add 1 to the strength and attacks characteristics of that model. So we can, when they're in combat, you get to be able to do a lot of damage. Dramatic Entrance. I tend to do that quite a lot. 1 command point. Use a stratagem in the heroic intervention step of your opponent's charge phase. Select 1 Harlequin's infantry unit from your army. Until the end of the phase, is eligible to perform a heroic intervention. If you do so and it is within 6 horizontally and 5 vertically, you can move instead of 3. When performing a heroic intervention with that unit, you can move each model in that unit up to 6 inches. All other rules for heroic interventions still apply. So basically, you probably get them furthermore. And then Favour of the Laughing God, 1 command point. Use a stratagem after nominating a Harlequin's model, excluding named characters, to be your Warlord. That model gains 1 additional Warlord trait. This must be from the Harlequin's Warlord trait table. Each Warlord trait in your army must be unique, randomly generated, or reroll duplicate results. You can only use a stratagem once, so you can give someone 2 Warlord traits in the Harlequin's unit. That's good, but it looks like it must be rolled for. You can't choose a second Warlord trait. You have to roll it. Okay, that's the price for it, but still good. Next is the Curtain Falls. Use a stratagem in the fight phase after a Harlequin's unit infantry from your army has finished making its attack, but before it makes a consolidation move. Instead of consolidating as normal, if every model in that... Sorry, I'm just turning off this lamp. There we go. That's better. If every unit within 6 of a friendly CDF transport model you can embark within the transport model as if it were the movement phase, even if it has disembarked this turn, provided the transport has enough transport capacity available for the unit to embark. So for this one, you can disembark, get into a fight, and get back into it. Ooh, handy. That's the first time I've seen that in this, so that's cool. The next one is Mocking Laughter. Use this stratagem at the start of the morale phase and select 1 enemy unit within 12 of a Death Jester model from your army. Until the end of the phase, your opponent cannot select that unit for insane bravery stratagem. See 40,000 core rulebook. That means 2 command points you can automatically pass morale. If a morale test is taken for that unit is failed, any action that unit is performing immediately fails. So that's cool. You can really just force someone to make a morale test. And that is the stratagems. So next we have the Exarch powers. Then we have the pivotal roles. See how far we've got in this video. And these are all chapter approved rules. Let's have a look. Hey guys, after looking at this, we're not going to cover the Exarch powers. From the look of it, it is just upgrades for your characters, so like buffs and such. If I go through all of this, we're going to be way too long, and this is the first impressions. So but then it does need to go. We do need to go through this. Okay, so the Exarch powers. So these are the leaders of your units, and for example, you can add. We'll do a quick thing of this. You can add +1 to their wounds, +1 to their ballistic skill, or +1 to their attacks. And then there's also the points costs. Eyes of Cain can make a unit that flies. It automatically hits the target. Each time a model with a ranged attack does not receive the benefits of cover, and models, you can also give them a 5+ invulnerable save. And first one's 30 points, second one's 20, and the third one's 25 points. And then, as you can see here, we can give benefits to certain units. So for Dire Avengers, we can make range attacks even while engagement range. So basically, you can fire people with engagement range by the sounds of it. You can make their shuriken catapults ability hit on a 5+ instead with shredding fire. And this one can make objective secured, and it counts as 2 models if you're already objective secured, which is interesting. Then we have warp spiders, and they have some interesting bits. Shining spears, the howling banshees. You can add 1 damage to their weapons. They can move an additional 6. Pretty cool. Same for striking scorpions, dark reapers. So basically, if you've got the points, you can make certain units really tough. That's cool. And then we've got some pivotal roles here. So for the Harlequins, we have things like you can add 1 to results of friendly core units within 6 inches. Give this one, each model makes a melee attack. An unmodified roll of 5+. Invulnerable saving throws cannot be made against that attack. That's Queen of Shards, so that's really cool. And these are for same as the Exarch powers, but because Harlequins don't really have much HQ choice, you can give them a pivotal role, and that's like the leader of your group, of your army. So that's really cool, and you can do quite a lot of things. Investigate it, it is quite cool. And then of course we have our secondary objectives. So then we have so there's ones for the Asunari, ones for the Harlequins. So that's quite cool. If you do want me to look into this further on, guys, please let me know in the comments, and I will go through these bits individually in another video. But we are going to go through the relics. Of course we're going to go through the relics. Note that some relics replace one of the model's existing items in the war gear, and you must, if you are using points values, still pay the cost of the war gear. So let's go through. First of all is Continuous Bow, which is model with a pistol only. This relic replaces the pistol and has the following profile. Range 18, it's a pistol with 3 shots, strength 5, no AP, and doesn't seem to be no damage. But when you look at this, each time an attack is made with this weapon and it successfully wounds a target, it inflicts 1 mortal wound on the target and the attack sequence ends. So this is a weapon that just dishes out mortal wounds. So that is good against things like Death Guard, because mortal wounds work as that they go off one at a time. So it ignores the -1 damage. So that's cool. The Phoenix Gem, which is Asunami model only. If the first time the bearer is destroyed, roll a d6 on a 2+, keep it to one side, and at the end of the current phase, set the bearer back up again as close as possible to its previous position and not within engagement range of any enemy models with D3 moons remaining. So that's a nearly guaranteed bring back. The Shard of Anaris, which is another Asunami model equipped with a Banshee Blade or Star Glaive only. The relic replaces the Banshee Blade or Star Glaive and has the following profile. Range, melee, type melee, strength +1, -3 on AP, 1 damage. Each time the bearer fights, it makes 3 D3 +3 additional attacks with this weapon. That's pretty mean. Then we have the Falcos Wing. The bearer has a move characteristic of 12 and has the fly keyword. At the end of the movement phase, select one enemy unit the bearer has moved across during the fade, and on a roll 1d6. On a 2+, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. That's cool. That can be really interesting. Then there is the Fire Saber, which is again Asunari. These are all Asunari only. It's a melee type weapon, +3 strength, and it can replace the Banshee Blade or the Star Glaive. So +3 strength, -4 AP and 2 damage. Each time an attack with this weapon is made, an unmodified roll of 6 inflicts 1 mortal wound on the target, to addition to any normal damage. That's pretty cool. And it's +3 strength. So yeah, that's good. That's one of my favourite ones. Next one is Sunstorm. It's on a biker model only. The bearer has the move characteristic of 20 inches. Wow. And the bearer has the objective secured ability. That's really cool. 20 inches. That is one fast fella. Or lady, depending on what. Wow. I like that one. 20 move characteristics, so you can get chugging along in that on the battlefield. Moving on. Aegis of the Eldanish. It's an all-type model only. The bearer has a save characteristic of 2+. Nice. Each time attack is allocated to the bearer, subtract 1 from the damage characteristic to a minimum of 1. So that makes your fella very durable. That's nice. 2+ characteristic save and then -1 to damage. That's a good one. And then the Weeping Stones, Psycho models only. While the bearer is on the battlefield, each time you make a Strands of Fate roll, you can roll 1 additional d6. So I was saying this earlier. We explained that earlier. So we have 6 dice. Okay, say you're rolling the strands of 2,000 points. You can roll 1 additional dice, but you still have to. You can still only take 4. So look, we've got 3 5s there, 2 1s, and then still got quite a lot there. So take away the 2, and you still get that. It just gives you more dice to roll to get what you want, but you don't get to keep it by the looks of it, because it doesn't say you get to keep it. So you can't get extra dice to keep. Yeah, you just get extra dice to roll. Right, next one is the Harlequins artifacts. The Storied Sword is the first one. it is Harlequin's model only, and these are all just Harlequin models only. It has it's a melee type weapon with +2 strength, -3 AP, and 2 damage. Each time attacker made with this weapon, so I got disturbed there. Each time an attack is made with this weapon, that attack automatically hits the target. That is good. So you're already hitting. You don't have to roll to hit. That's like a flamer sword. That's cool. And it's got not got bad profile either. Next one is the Hidden Suit of Knives. Model only. At the end of the fight, Harlequin's model only. There. At the end of the fight phase, the bearer can make 3 additional melee attacks. These attacks cannot target a titanic unit. When resolving these attacks, each time a hit is scored, the target suffers 1 mortal wound and the attack sequence ends. So you can potentially dish out extra mortal wounds with that. And the third one on 116 is Crescendo. Harlequin's model with a shuriken pistol only. The relic replaces the shuriken pistol and has the following profile. So it is range 12 inches, 6 shots with it, strength 4, -3 AP and 2 damage. And it also has the shuriken ability, which is good. Moving on to the next page, the Korgorich's Rose. Harlequin's model only. Models with the Harlequin's Kiss only. That's one of the weapons in the lore. It's quite a brutal weapon. It's basically a barbed wire that shoots up into the person's body and rips everything up and then goes back in a matter of seconds. Vile. It's a melee weapon and it has +2 strength, -2 AP and 3 damage. The ability it has, each time attack is made with this weapon, you can re-roll the wound roll. The bearer has the Harlequin's Kiss keyword. Yeah, so that's quite a vile weapon. And it's quite cool. It's not bad. 3 damage, pretty mean. So you're pretty much that's a character killer really. The next one is the Star Mist Rement. So Harlequin's model only. Each time an attack is made against the bearer, the attack's hit roll and wound roll cannot be re-rolled. That's cool. Once per battle in your command phase, you can declare the bearer will mimic Alios. If you do so until the start of your next command phase, the bearer has a 3+ invulnerable save. Yeah, that's good. It's good. Not my favourite, but that is good. Yeah, that's pretty decent. And then the final one is the Laughing God's Eye. Don't know why I'd be laughing if he didn't have an eye. The bearer has the following ability. It's an aura ability, and while friendly Harlequin's unit within 6 of this model, each time a model in that unit would lose a wound as a result of a mortal wound, roll 1d6, and on a 5+, that wound is not lost. So that's same as we've seen in other abilities, which is mortal wounds you can ignore on a 5+. Okay, and then these. These must be for the unit upgrades you can have. Okay, so the Avenging Blade, Avenger model only. It's a +2 strength weapon, no AP, no damage. And each time the attack is made with this weapon, if an attack successfully wounds the target, it inflicts 1 mortal wound on the target and the attack sequence ends. The Fire Dragon Exarch, next one's Dragon's Fury, and it's on a Fire Dragon Exarch only. Each time the bearer unit is selected as a target of a charge, subtract 2 from the charge roll. That's good. Shadow String is for swiping scorpions. It's a +3 weapon. It replaces their Biting Blade, which is +3 strength, -AP 2 and 2 damage. And when the ability is, it makes 2 additional attacks with this weapon. The Crone Scream, the Howling Banshee Exarch only. Once per battle, at the start of the fight phase, you can select 1 enemy unit within engagement range of the bearer and roll 1d6. On a 2+, that enemy unit suffers D3 mortal wounds and 1 additional mortal wound for each charge move the bearer has made during the battle. Wow! So if your Howling Banshees, for example, have charged 3 times, and then you inflict 3 mortal wounds. You can potentially do 6 mortal wounds onto an enemy, and mortal wounds carry over, so that's really good. That's my favourite one so far. The Phoenix Plume is for Swooping Hawks. It has that gives the bearer a 4+ and vulnerable. Each time a model in the bearer's unit would lose a wound on roll a d6 on a 5+, that wound is not lost. That's really good. Basically giving them feel no pain. For the Warp Spiders, it's called the Spider's Bite. On a +2, it's a +2 minus AP4 2 damage melee weapon. And each time the bearer attacks on an unmodified wound roll of 6, the attack has a damage characteristic of 3. Again, that's nice. Yeah, that's not bad at all. Next one is Kane's Lance. That's for Shining Spear units. Each time the bearer finishes a charge move, select one enemy unit within engagement range of the bearer and roll 1d6. On a 4+, that enemy suffers 3d3 mortal wounds, and that enemy is not eligible to fight this phase until after all eligible units from your army have done so. So that's really mean as well. So you're going to give them a bit of pain, and then they can't fight until the rest of it. Excuse me. And the final one is Shrine Skull. Dark Reaper Exarch model only, with a Reaper launcher only. If an enemy model has any model destroyed by a target made by the bearer until the end of the turn, subtract 1 from the combat attrition test taken from that enemy unit. So again, that's good. Just double checking that. There we go, camera, you can see a bit better now. And that's the relics for the Harlequins and the Eldari and the Aeldari. There's quite a lot of good ones in there, and then this is a bonus for your Exarchs. They get relics as well. That's really cool. And then here we are with the Warlord traits. And we'll go through the psychic disciplines, and then judging on time. Yeah, and then that'll be it. And then I'll have to do a part 3 by the looks of it, if we want to do all the war scrolls. But to be fair, everyone has the apps, so this is just the first impressions review. I will do an in-depth review at a later date, but this is just first impression. So let's go through the Warlord traits, or should we? Actually, guys, we've gone through the relics. We can go through Warlord traits and other things in a part 3. Just because I don't want to make these videos too long, we're nearly hitting the hour mark already. So yes, we're going to finish here today, and thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Comment on anything you want me to get in more depth with, and keep on forging, guys.